Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry that you people have not been hearing from me for a while now, and I'm so sorry I've not been uploading some videos for some time now. It's due to the fact that I have been trying to cope with some personal problems, but nevertheless I promise that no matter how busy I'm caught up with, I will try to upload a film at least once in a month if possible. And thank you for being faithful. Thank you for being there for me, and thank you for not losing your hope on me, and thank you for being a loyal subscriber. So today I will be talking about shouting match equals to distance. Have you ever given a thought to why people shout at each other when they are angry? Or let me put it this way: what do you do when you are angry with somebody? Do you shout at the person, or do you sit down and talk to the person in a polite, cool, calm way? So when you are angry and you shout at somebody, my dear, what you're doing is this: you're just creating a distance in your heart between you and that person. Take for instance, when people fall in love with each other, their hearts, their eyes, all the parts of their body speak a language that only the two of them understand. They speak in a calm, low voice in a calm, soft voice to each other. They hardly shout at each other. They whisper to each other's ears. Their eyes speak to each other without even communicating through their mouths. And that is why their heart is close to each other. That is why their emotions, the two different emotions, beats as one, and then making them to fall really deeply in love with each other, to the extent of getting married, or to the extent of being engaged in some cases. And then if you are angry and you are caught up shouting at each other, I call it a shouting match. And what did you expect? Of course, the person you're shouting at will not keep quiet. The person will shout back in order to defend him or herself. And when you people shout at each other, you are creating a very large hole, a very large gap, a very large distance between the two of you. If you're married to one another, then that is a very, very serious situation you people are creating. If you're a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or if you're in love with each other, then you are trying to push this person emotionally very far away from you. And as often as you quarrel or shout at this person, that is how often you tend to push this person till you push this person's emotions, now attachment to you, off the cliff. And if this person falls out, that is when that relationship will fall apart. In marriage, that is when the couple will be separated, and sometimes it will come up with issues that will be, if not taken seriously, it can lead to divorce. So in order to avoid shouting at each other, I'm not a saint either. I've been caught up so many times in this embarrassing situation. I call it embarrassing because it's as if when one shouts at another person, To me, I see it as one have been possessed with a spirit of anger. And when you're possessed with the spirit of anger, my dear, you can hardly see clearly. And when you don't take time, you lose the control of your words. And when you lose the control of your words, my dear, it is difficult to retrieve every evil words that come out from the mouth when somebody is angry. I've never seen anybody who has spoken kind words whenever the person is angry. So, in order to avoid that, try and calm yourself down whenever you're angry. If possible, remove yourself from that spot. Take yourself away from that place, cool yourself down, and then come back later and sit down like adults. Sit down together with this person like grown-up adults. Talk to each other in a kind way. Talk to each other as a human being, with senses, with compassion, with soft voice. Try to hear each other's reasons. Do not shout at each other like animals. Do not shout at each other as if the person is an alien. Maybe when you shout at each other, especially people who are in love with each other, especially married couples, when you shout at each other, do you know what you do? You push the love of this person further away from you. You shout at the person today. Let's say you normally start up a shouting match whenever you're angry, or whenever the person or he or she does a little mistake. You now put up a shouting match. Let's say you put up this show 2 or 3 times in a week. For every time out of this many times you put up the shows in a week, for every time you do it, you push this person's emotional attachment to you far away from you. And take for instance, if you do it 3 times in a week, and in a month we have 4 weeks in a month. If you do it 3 times in a week, that means 3 times 4, you know what it means? For 12 times. That means for every these 12 times you did it in a month, you've succeeded in pushing this person far away from you. And since you succeeded in pushing this person far away from you, don't be surprised at the result you will get. And when this person detach him or herself emotionally from you, that is when you will be commenting or lamenting about the behavior of this person. You know, that is not good. So when you are angry, take time off. Go and take fresh air. Drink some water. Put some water in your mouth if possible, in order to control yourself. And when you put this water in your mouth, please don't swallow it. Leave it in your mouth. It will prevent you from talking, because I've never seen anybody talking with water in his or her mouth. So when you take a cup of water, please try and take some water, just a little bit of water. Don't swallow it, just hold it in your mouth. It will prevent you from talking. It will prevent you from talking, because when you talk, you vomit bullshit. And when you vomit bullshit, and later you ask for forgiveness, my dear, that word has gone out like a sword into the heart of this person. So in order to prevent you from sending that soul into this heart of this person, please, you keep your mouth shut. That is the best. Don't start a shouting match whenever you're angry. Whenever you're angry, please take yourself away from this place. Take yourself away from this situation. Come back a day or some minutes later or some hours later when you have cooled yourself down, and then you talk things over. Remember, communication is the best in any relationship. And when you talk things over, you will find out that you will be able to find a reason why he or she committed the offense that led to the shouting. To avoid people shouting at each other, please, you also have to respect each other's interests. Respect each other. Respect this person individuality. Because sometimes when we over assume, that is why we hardly say that people are people made with flesh and blood, that we are all capable of making mistakes. When you shout at your loved ones, you push this person out from you emotionally. Think about what I said the other time. Lovers, people who fell in love with themselves, people who are married, or newly married, or even people who are not newly married, there are still marriages that are still functioning in these days. When you look at them, they communicate with their eyes. They communicate with the way they look. They communicate sometimes without talking. They whisper to each other. They whisper to each other. And that is how they come close to each other in love. Their heart understands one language, and that is this language of emotional attachment to each other, and that is this language of togetherness, and that is this language of peace, love, harmony, understanding, compassion. But when you shout at each other, each other, this language of attachment, this language of peace, love, harmony, commitment, you detach it from this person. And when you detach it from this person, it looks as if okay, let me give you an example. It's like you're moving forward, and suddenly you detect a danger, and you know that if you start running, the person will know that you started running by the sound of your foot on the floor. What you do, quietly, silently, you will be facing the person, but you will be going backwards, slowly. Did you see how I moved my hand? Let me demonstrate it with my hand. You're coming forward to somebody, and the person starts shouting. And once this person starts shouting, you don't like it, but you can't voice it out because you're weak to say it, or because you don't want to stress yourself over saying it, because this person, you feel that the person lacks the spirit of understanding. The person doesn't, you're not compatible again. What some people do is this: they normally take their leave quietly and gently, and that is what I call maturity. And how do they take their leave? Instead of coming forward to you, they will slowly be going backwards. That is exactly what happens when you shout to a loved one. That is exactly what happens when you argue all the time with a loved one. That is exactly what happens when you talk in an unfriendly, unmannered tone of voice to a loved one. In order to avoid it, we are all matured. We should learn to tolerate one another. We should learn to love one another. We should learn to know the distinction between love and like. And we should be faithful and to one another, we should also be truthful to ourselves. Because, like I said in one of my videos, you don't give what you don't love. Start by self-love. Start by loving yourself. When you love yourself, that is when you can be able to give out love in return. Remember what I say. Stop shouting at one another. If you are married or if you're in love with someone, please avoid that. Take your leave immediately. Go to somewhere that you can have fresh air. You can go to a restaurant and listen to music and take your break day and drink coffee or drink tea or take whatever you like. Or you can go to a park, sit down and watch the birds fly around and sing, or watch dolls run around playing with their toys, or watch mothers moving, pushing their straw with their children inside it. It's better. It will help you to cool off. It will help you to have a clear head. Then when you come back, please, you sit down like a human being that we are and talk, because we are human beings. So, thank you for watching.